Hey everyone, Fatty from Pack a Punch Traders here. Gonna go over the day, a couple of trades, and the top plays for tomorrow. So let's just get into this here. Some solid plays right from the watch list. BOXD. This was a beautiful play over 41 cents, and as I have been mentioning, it's holding up with low pressure. So once that strong demand does come back and it breaks over 40, we got a strong triple top around there, and was looking for a move to test 50, but it had enough in the tank to push it past that resistance and pretty much get it to the resistance from a few months ago in the 60s, high 60s. As we can see here, oh, actually, never mind. I already have this watch list out. Never mind. I was going to show you guys the watch list from yesterday, but that's on Twitter if you want to check it out. That was the plan for it. Very nice play, as well as BIOR, an insane mover. This one wasn't from the watch list, but just want to go over this just to get an idea. This was of how short squeezes happen and the key level of open price and VWAP. This would have been a really nice play midday, breaking through open price or claiming VWAP, breaking high a day. All the shorts here that were getting in, or maybe it's not shorts, maybe it's just not enough sellers. There's just some sellers here, and there just wasn't enough to push this lower. And then buyers came through when they saw the imbalance. But this was it was a slow mover, and here it is continuing higher. So an absolute killer of a move. We'll definitely wait for the multi-day bounce. This is absolutely insane to see. From 211 previous close, here we are in the high eights. Very nice. So we'll just let that settle down, over and done with. I don't see a pattern here. The only play I would have played was the open price or the high a day VWAP claim in this area. Maybe the pre-market high break as it consolidated and failed to break down, continued to make higher lows, and the demand was still pretty strong and it was dipping on lighter volume. All these indications showing potential higher prices, but that's obviously easier to say in hindsight here, but that is the indicator. There was GSUN right out of the watch list. This was a beautiful play of mine. Got it a little early. So yesterday the plan on this one was the failure to break the multi-week breakout in the 170s, 80s, come back to the red to green area, which should give it a push back to the mid twos, and I'd be buying on the red to green move at 206 a little bit, and then pushing it higher. I'd keep adding. But I tried waiting today. I mentioned in the stream this morning I'm going to wait for the 244 multi-day breakout area. And after I shut off the stream, I took a quick look at this and saw the great hold that it had at 2. Fell in a breakdown. Just doing everything I wanted yesterday. It just happened today. So I took a small position of 424 shares. That's kind of the only reason I also got it early, was because I had such a small position, less than $1,000, and that's because I didn't have much left after my trade on MEGL, which we'll go over. But this was a nice play, and all I did was just trust the trend, the volume that was coming in. It was rotating the float. It was doing strong volume, super low, not super low, but pretty low float, enough to where if we're getting a strong burst in demand, it's going to get the play moving. And here it was a little annoying, but I knew it was just figuring out what it wanted to do. It was consolidating around the breakout level. We got sellers coming in as well as short sellers, but it kept making higher lows, and just try to stay as calm as possible. It was a small position, and here I was starting to get a little antsy because I'd be selling around this percent gain usually, just taking my quick gains, but I kept holding. I had a small position. I saw the demand keep coming in, and at the same time, it would still hold up, even though it would have a hard time here in the 70s, 80s making new highs, which made me very uneasy, as that is an indicator of topping action. It gets really choppy after a pretty one-sided move here from the 230s to the high twos. It was pretty one-sided. Um, so then when it gets choppy, getting close to three, whole dollar, half dollar area, which was my goal for it to get to, I decided to sell into the burst. And I almost sold right here in the low 80s, but then I just waited a few seconds, and before I knew it, it was coming right back for a new high a day, and I sold it as quickly as I could. So very nice 30% gain there. Wish it was on bigger size, but I will take it. Just under $300, about 288 profit here. So that was really nice to see. There was another play that I remember seeing. I'm pretty sure it was on the watch list. Huh. Never mind then. It was just GSUN, BOXD. Oh, we also had GMVD. I was looking at it as a possible multi-day bounce style play, even though it didn't have its red day. It was just way off of the highs, and this play ran over 150%. So that would put it on radar for a multi-day bounce. And it was so far off the highs, I was going to treat it as a multi-day bounce. And I just ignored it. I had other stuff on watch, and limited amount of money at the time. Still growing the account. Um, so yeah, this one was missed, but very nice to see. And now that it's failing to really break down, I'm looking at this as a possible just bottoming day, as it's still holding up. It's still way off of the highs. It gave a quick little perk, not too bad, going about $1. Um, but I still think, considering if it continues to hold up here, I could see it giving another bounce. So yeah, that's kind of today. Here's MEGL. I'm gonna go over this. This one, multi-day bounce play. Here we are. Had a decent setup in the morning. Nice little perk, showing a little bit of momentum shift. Held red green, VWAP. So I got it at 219 initially, 300 shares. Then I added another 300 shares, bringing my average up a little bit. I actually think this was a little higher. Oh, that's too low. And then pushed even higher, made another higher low. So then I decide to get in again, add a little bit more, 200 shares. So we're at 800 shares. And from there, it was looking pretty good. VWAP was holding, it was still making higher lows. It starts to push higher, but then it gets stuffed. And at that point, I became a little uneasy, but still trusted the chart and that it was still a momentum shift. It's making a base around VWAP. So I throw on another 200 shares, and I got 1,000 shares. And at this point, most of this was live. By this point here, it wasn't live. On the stream this morning, I was done about 7:15 in the morning. So we get this stuff, and I add a little bit, and I said that 215 would be my cut, and I only sold half when I got to that point. And the reason I did that was because I'm looking at this play recently. It's got a solid base here, around 2, decently off the highs, recent runner. I'm looking at this as a possible momentum shift, not momentum shift day, a bottoming day. We had some decent selling as it was breaking down, but it couldn't push much lower, and it made a new day low, but only by a couple of cents. So we're not even, half a penny rather. So it was showing me signs that it was just not the right time for it. I guess an example would be JSPR. If we look at this, ended up having a nice pre-market move. This was the push, and coming to the day, this was on watch for a multi-day bounce. But here's this thing with the weak bounce for the past few days. Fake out after garbage weak bounce. Continues to hold up, and that offers the squeeze pre-market today. Not really much of an opportunity, but if it were to happen market out during market open, it would have been nice. So no angle there, but you get the sentiment of the pattern, what's supposed to happen, the psychology behind it. So that's why I'm waiting for MEGL for possible play tomorrow. So yeah, now I guess I went over a couple of the top plays. So we got APCX from today. Not incredible amount of volume, but it's just kind of waking up. So we'll see if this could get back to the 327 multi-week breakout, which lines up with the low threes from January of last year. So we got some decent resistance in the low threes. If we can get volume to come back, which I believe it could easily come back considering the float, the way it's holding up on the daily chart. We got a little bit of a perk today, and the amount of volume needed to break out convincingly is unfathomable. We see some plays where it's approaching the breakout level, but you got 100 million shares traded on that day where we're looking to break. So it would need a lot of volume to really come back, which would be unlikely to do 100, 150, 200. But when it's doing about 6 million on this day, you can beat that. So we'll keep this on watch for a 327 breakout. Looking for a test of 4. Next whole dollar, half dollar area. I'm not going to try and call this to fill the gap and get to the 7s or anything. Just looking for a quick 10-15% out of this thing. So if we were to get to 4, that would give us a solid opportunity. And then we got, why does it keep doing this? SIDU. This one here from today, horrible history. Was a decent open price reclaim, pretty choppy, but never convincingly broke down today. Still held day low. So we'll keep this on watch for a potential previous high at daybreak over the mid ones. Whole dollar, half dollar area, combining that with the high at day. So it'll be a key area. We'll definitely need to see some demand come back, but not like to see it on low volume breakout. So if we get a perk in demand and a reclaim of that price, we could possibly see a squeeze get to the high ones, 2-ish, but still a waiting game to see how this opens up and comes back. The only thing really going for this right now is its inability to really break down, because based off its history, it'd be a pretty good short. It's only got this decent run. Besides that, it's just downtrending. So this might be another thing that would be a good short into a pop, but if that offers a failure to break down, you might get an inverse of the pattern, and we end up getting a nice squeeze from early short sellers. Then we got GMVD. We just went over that. Decent low bounce today. Retreated all the gains, but still holding up, and it's well off of the highs. Could offer a serious bounce play. It is a super low float, 600,000. So keep this on watch for a potential reversal. And same thing with MEGL. Same exact thinking here. This was a bottoming day, still decently off the highs, bottoming out here. Never really convincingly broke down and made new lows. So as long as this thing is holding up here, it would be